Hello, everyone. My name's Cash Miller, and welcome to Emerging Brands Franchises on the Rise. I'm the CEO of Type Media Works. We do podcast production. On this show, we talk to franchises that are just that. They're on the rise. These are businesses that you may want to invest in and build out your own empire, but you're using proven business models. I've got with me Jeff. He's with Max Fitness Strength. Jeff, it's great. We're going to be talking fitness. What a great area. There are so many opportunities out there, but you've got one that's like, it's new, it's growing. You've got some corporate stores, you've gotten into the franchise space. Thanks for being on the show. Like, tell us, what's the backstory here?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. So I've been in business for almost 20 years now, and my background is athletic training and sports medicine. I started off out of college as an athletic trainer working in physical therapy, and I thought that was my life's passion. But as I got into that industry, I got pretty disenamored with it because if you've ever been to physical therapy, they give you like 5 to 7 visits, insurance limitations, then you're pulled and left to do it on your own, and most people are non-compliant. So I figured there had to be a better way. It was during that stint when I was working in physical therapy, a colleague of mine turned me on to a very unique style of strength training. And it's what we call today a high intensity, low force, or continuous tension method. So I took that method and I left the physical therapy practice. I went back to the university. I went to Case Western Reserve University here in Cleveland. I went back there. I was the athletic trainer. I was the strength coach. I got my master's at the med school all during that time. And I started implementing this protocol with myself, my wife, anybody I could get my hands on. I had a handful of the athletic teams at Case that allowed me to implement this type of program. And it was 20 minutes twice a week in a fraction of the time that people normally spend in the gym. So it's a very different model. So we're looking at quality of exercise rather than quantity to get the biggest bang for your buck. And so after I then got my master's and I was ready to move on, started this company, and I've been doing this ever since 2004. And my life's goal was always to franchise the company. The first business book I ever read was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about processes and systems.
Yep.
Most entrepreneurs, they'll have an entrepreneurial seizure, as he calls it in the book. They're a technician at hand, they're doing the day-to-day, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, I can do this better than who I'm working for. And for me, I just thought it was a better, mission in life to be able to help as many people as I could. So, I had that entrepreneurial seizure to try to do this on my own. And I had a business partner at the time. And so we launched this. We took some of our old clients and just started building this out. And it's been a whirlwind since. And it took me some time and some trial and error and thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And here we are today, launching our franchise just last year. And here we are.
So let me ask you to start, because it's a newer franchise, Max Strength Fitness, what is it that you see as a differentiator based on, because there are a lot of what we just say gym concepts, fitness places, whether it's a Planet Fitness or something else. What is that differentiator?
Yeah.
And I know you've got a different system. So for one, are there anybody else doing it like you are? And then how do you, if you were to explain it, so I say, hey, and think of it from a customer standpoint. If I walked in and I said, why would I join this fitness place?
Sure.
Why would I join Max Strength Fitness versus Planet Fitness?
Yes. So first of all, it's the customer base that we go after and who we really tailor to. And that's typically 50 and above. We're looking for C-suite executives, people that have built their wealth, but let their health kind of suffer. And they don't want to go to a traditional gym like an Anytime Fitness or Planet Fitness or anything like that. So we're kind of the anti-gym, if you will. I mean, this is the way we dress: shirt and tie. We dress professional, act professional. It's a world-class customer service experience in and of itself. So we tailor to a higher end clientele who doesn't want to go in that traditional setting. And that's where we come in. But we utilize a very specialized protocol, which that differentiates us far and above and beyond than traditional strength training. What we utilize, as I mentioned earlier, is we use a high intensity, low force method or continuous tension. What we want is we want to lift the weights in about 8 to 10 seconds and lower them in about 8 to 10 seconds. We want tension on your muscle the entire time. It robs the body and it takes all the stress off the joints. We'll typically do one set to true muscular fatigue or failure. It's a total body routine, upper body, lower body, spine, anywhere between probably 5 to 8 exercises, 20 minutes twice a week, back to your busy day. So you're in, out, and back to it. Plus, we keep our environment clinically controlled, meaning when you walk into the studio, the temperature is at about 67 degrees Fahrenheit. And we do that because we want the body to be as efficient as possible. For
Yeah.
example, your body, as you start to exercise, produces heat. And just like your car, if your car overheats, it doesn't run as well. It's a mechanical process. Same thing with our body. So we keep the temperature controlled along with fans that dissipate heat. Clients don't sweat when they train with us. And that's by design to keep the body efficient. But the bonus, they can literally come in, street clothes, business clothes, train, and go right back to their busy day without having to worry about showering or grooming. We don't even have shower facilities on site. So you're literally, the only time you're in there is when you exercise and right back to your day. As soon as you enter the door, within minutes, we're going to take you back into a private area. There's other people inside training with their trainer, so it's always one-on-one. It's not group classes or semi-private like a lot of places. You can't come in on your own. Keeps you accountable. It has a tried and proven system, that trainer holding you accountable and making sure that you'll take your body above and beyond where it's gone in the past to really truly get results from it.
That's an interesting, way of thinking about it. So I can see why your model is 50 above. And that's, for one, you rarely see fitness concepts that are targeting specific age groups. That's not something that happens. But because the nature of the exercises, this isn't a quantity thing. This is hey, I'm going to lift, but I'm going to do slow because it takes the the pressure off the joints, the wear and tear. And then I've been doing those kinds of exercises. Like personally, I have arthritis on my neck, so I've been doing those kinds of exercises, which you've been talking about. With the idea that I can warm up those muscles, I can get the blood flowing, and then I get pain relief actually, from it versus a bunch of pills, because I'm about in your age group, not quite. But it reminds me, you ever see the last Rocky movie? Where he's like 60 or whatever, and he wants to do it one more time, and he's got Apollo's trainer, and Apollo, his old trainer and stuff, and he's pretty beat up too,
Right.
He's like, okay, so we got this problem. So you can't run. Your joints are worn out. The only thing you got left is your muscles, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And so they had to tailor his training with the idea that he can't do your standard cardio. He can't do any of these because everything it's just it's worn. It's gone. Your knees, cartilage, and all of that. And so I can totally relate. Because my knees creak a lot. And I think that's great because it's from a business standpoint. Yeah, you're targeting a very specific group of people, but those executives and stuff that can appreciate it, they can actually just come in. I mean, I've never heard of that kind of concept where you can not have to get into some sort of workout clothes and stuff. Because you're not really going to break, your muscles are going to work, but you don't necessarily break the sweat to do it.
Yeah, 90% of our clients just come in street clothes. They just come in whatever they're wearing, even business guy. I mean, if they got a tie, I say take the tie off, put on a pair of tennis shoes. I mean, dress clothing is usually not tight fitted, so you can move in space, and that's fine as long as it's not restrictive. I don't care what they wear. And we have fans throughout the studio that will dissipate the heat as they're on machines if they need it. But most times we don't even need that because we keep the temperature controlled.
Okay, so now let's talk about a bit of the structure of the business. Now, typically, how big are these? Because this is a physical location type play. It's if you want to build it, you got to do one location after another. So how big are those locations? And then also, how many staffers does it usually take to operate one?
Yeah, our studios range anywhere between 1,700 on the low end up to about 2,500 on the high end. So anywhere in between there. And the beauty with our studios, they can be in office parks, they can be in industrial, they can be, because it's a destination place. So it doesn't have to be a retail space. Actually, we just built out a third corporate studio that is retail, and it's our first retail space. My other two studios are in corporate office parks. You never even know we're here unless somebody told you about us, because we don't have signage and things because the city only allows so much on the frontage. So that's the beauty. You can be in Class B, Class A. It doesn't have to be Class A, but it could be Class B, Class C if you needed to. So you can keep your rent down. When we do the build out, so it looks good. It's high end. It's got the look and the feel of a high end feel, because that's who we tailor to as a high end clientele.
Well, that's a interesting piece of it too, because that's a very non-traditional place of not just placing a gym, but like any business period, is any kind of an office park. So, okay. So I like the differentiators so far, now what kind of, what kind of staff do you need to actually operate this? And also, what's the typical operating hours? Because I do wonder if
Sure.
you're in a corporate park,
Mhm.
later hours, those people are going to be gone, usually.
Yeah,
So,
it's typically, yeah. So we'll address the staffing issue first, or the staffing requirements. So when we open up a new studio, we'll typically always open up with 2 full-time trainers, and then as we grow the business, we'll add the trainers on. And the way that we work is we'll pay once the trainers are full time and they have a full-time schedule. We'll pay the trainers per the session, so that as the business grows, they can grow. But then you're
okay,
not paying overhead, and your payroll is not exuberant as you open up a studio. So
right,
we'll build our studios out. My two bigger studios that we've been in business for a long time. We have 6 to 7 full-time trainers in each studio. We'll see on average of about 350 sessions per week in each studio.
oh
So
wow,
do a pretty good volume. Average session rate per client is about $57 to $60 per session. So they're going to pay us around $480 per month. And we have
oh,
contracts. So we'll have memberships 6, 12, and 18 months. So that's a reoccurring model.
hmm,
It's not a membership model in the fact that it's forced membership. We'll have a renewal
yeah,
after their contract, but when you get 80% of your clients to sign up with you for a 12-month membership, you've got a long time to really produce results with them. So our retention rate is extremely high. So
huh,
we do have an owner operator model, or we have an executive model for our franchisees when they're moving forward. So I've been running an executive model in my studios for the last 6 years. When I opened up my second studio, I no longer did any of the day-to-day training. I did consultations, ran the marketing, inspected what I expected as far as the business systems, the operations. But I have a manager at each studio that does the day-to-day. And so a lot of our franchisees coming on board love that model because, one, if they don't want to leave their corporate job, they
yeah,
can still do that. Or if they don't want to be the trainer on the end of the day and they just want to be the business owner, then we'll help them to hire a manager that can run the day to day. We have a very extensive onboarding process. They'll come here to Cleveland for a couple of days. We'll go down to their studio for a few days with Zoom and technology. We can role play back and forth any day of the week that
yeah,
we need to. We have a designated mentor for them moving forward in our training modules, because the way we train isn't taught in traditional academia or any other certifications. So we have our
mhm,
own in-house certification. We have what we call the Max Strength Fitness Academy that our trainers will go through when they're onboarded and all the way through. And then it's just a lifelong uh, journey of learning, because we're always continuous learners within our educational process.
this is yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of the fees that you're charging. That truly is a premium. Which case, how many you know, like how many clients essentially,
Yeah.
are you or members are you looking to sign? Like,
Yeah. See,
and
that's
I'll
the,
ask.
oh, go ahead.
Well, let me ask this question two ways. One is out the gate, what's your typical goal, and then where can you go in a 2,400 square foot
Sure.
facility? Yeah.
Yeah. So when we open up a studio, a typical trainer schedule is going to accommodate 25 clients per trainer. That's going to give them about 50 sessions per week, because most clients will come twice a week. 50
Okay.
to 60 is the average that I want my trainers to be seen from a full-time perspective. So you really only need 25 clients out the door per trainer. So if you're going to hire 2 to start, you're going to need 50. You get
Okay.
75, you're going to need 3, and then
Okay.
so on. And then
Okay.
again, it escalates as it goes. So that's kind of the model within itself. So the business doesn't need to have a lot of clients to be successful. It just needs the right ones. And that's where we really dial in our marketing. So we have very specific avatars, if you will, or our ideal prospects that we target, that we can go after and make sure that we're attracting the right ones and repelling the wrong ones. And we've been in the business, like I said, for almost 20 years. So we're really good about honing in our marketing and attracting those ideal prospects. So a typical studio, to get to about $1 million mark, you're going to need about 160, 175 clients active coming twice a week.
Wow.
And our adjusted gross
That's
margins are going to be about 28%. So there's pretty good margins within the company.
yeah.
It's a
There's
pretty
good
simple
margins.
business. Yeah, it's a pretty simple business at the end of the day. I acknowledge it. I stole this from somebody. It's like $1 million lemonade stand. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of widgets and things. I mean, it's pretty simple to run.
Yeah.
It's customer service at the end of the day. It's one-on-one personal training, and that's really the nuts and bolts of it.
From the trainer standpoint, are those clients, the people that, the members, are they scheduling like, hey, I come in on this day at this time every week
Yeah, I'd
or
say about
whatnot to keep,
85% of our clients have a reoccurring appointment. So 2 days and times that are on their schedule, they're on our schedule. If they have conflicts or
yeah,
travel, we just move it as we go. But that keeps them consistent. That keeps them
yeah,
accountable. It helps us keep the scheduling consistent. And then we can see, we have a whole spreadsheet on where the reoccurring appointments are, so we can see our staffing issues as we grow. Once we get to about 50 sessions per trainer on average, then we'll know that we need to hire another trainer and then fill in the marketing to grow them.
Do you find that you have any trouble when you're trying to recruit the trainers? Because those people, I know you have a certification process, but
Sure.
You're going to want people that are used to, and maybe they come from other gyms or whatnot. But what does it look like?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I really don't require them to have an extensive background. If they know anatomy and physiology, that's a huge win because we can hit the ground running. But because we teach them exactly how to do what we do on our specialized equipment, I really look for personality. We hire by our core values, we reevaluate by our core values, we fire by our core values. So I want those soft skills. So we have a 4-step interview process that all of our franchisees will dive into, and we distribute them through our systems. That's tried and proven to be very psychologically demanding as far as identifying the right prospect for a employee or a team member, just like we do with marketing for our clients.
Okay. So from an owner standpoint, then what for you makes the ideal owner? Who are you looking to recruit?
First and foremost, I'm looking for somebody with a very specific why. And that why can be different for everybody, but they got to have a purpose behind why they want to be an entrepreneur, and more importantly, be in the fitness space. That's the beauty about our model, is somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, but wants to be in the fitness space, but doesn't have any fitness acumen is fine.
Yeah.
We'll teach all of that. But I want somebody who's passionate about business and making a profound impact on the quality of the clients' lives and making an impact in their community. Because we see so many transformations with just 20 minutes twice a week. I mean, it's profound. If you look at all of our testimonials and our social proof, I mean, clients love it. I mean, especially that clientele being 50 and above. One, they have the need. Two, they have the desire to change because, they're on the back nine of life, if you will. And things are starting to ache and pain and doctor's visits and medications. And that's where we come in, is to give them the freedom of life to be independent on their own terms as they're navigating into their 60s or 70s. I've got a 98-year-old that's a client of ours. So, any range in between. And we can do that. And most of that demographic has some type of chronic injury. So with our background in our protocol being therapeutic in nature itself, we can address any orthopedic issues, whereas most trainers would either avoid those or make them worse. We like to fix people rather than break them. So we're a very good choice for post-physical therapy, if you will. And again, my trainers don't have to have any of my extensive background in sports medicine and athletic training. As long as they understand and implement the protocol on our specialized equipment, then it allows for a therapeutic nature.
Well, that goes, back to why, if you want to be an entrepreneur or you're looking for a career shift or whatever, you buy into a franchise because you're leaning on that expertise. You have that deeper knowledge than the average person would have. And it's not that everybody else has to have it. It's a matter of we need it. You got to have it to tap into, though, to help set those protocols so that, everybody else knows what they, the steps they should do, what they, how to approach it.
Sure.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk money, though, because build outs are never cheap. And this is a physical, you have a physical location. It's not too big, 2,400 square feet. It's decent size. It'll get the job done. Those spaces are a little easier to find than, obviously, because boy, I tell you what, I don't know what it costs to build out a Planet Fitness. I mean, those things are.
I don't either, but it's not cheap.
Yes, a couple $1 million to get going, right?
Correct.
But so, what does it cost from the standpoint of franchise fees? What have you seen from build outs and such?
Yeah.
What ranges are we looking at?
So our initial franchise fee is $49,500. And if people want to buy multiple territories, we'll have a tiered discounted rate if they buy a second, third, fourth, and fifth. So that's the initial fee that gives you all the processes, systems, that gives you the Max Strength Fitness brand. And then the initial investment to get started opening up our ranges between $286 to $468. The majority of that will be your build out. So if you have to come in and do an extensive build out, it could be as much as around $300,000, $350,000. That's on the high end. The low end could be around $100,000 if you really don't have to do much. If you just got to do finishes and put up a couple walls or here or there. So that's the majority of the range there. And then our equipment cost is going to be around $100,000, a little over that. And then the rest of it is just the regular build out and, office supplies and things of that nature. So that's our range.
Okay. Does any of that money allow for operating costs? Because some franchises have figured in from 3 months to 6 months.
Yeah, we'll put a three month operating cost in there. We'll also put in a $5,000 to $10,000 marketing budget for a grand opening that we require to spend. because we want to hit the
Okay.
ground running from a opening perspective.
Okay, so let's talk opening so you can get those initial. What does the marketing side of things look like so you can get those initial clients signed up?
Yeah, so I'm always been a firm believer in putting multiple poles in the water to catch fish, if you will. So that's what we
Hmm.
do with our marketing. So we're not going to rely on just one stream. So we'll do digital, do all the social platforms, we'll do print. Our clients still, being 50 and above, they love to read. So we'll do direct mail, oversized postcards. We'll buy a list that's targeted specifically to that demographic. We can do everyday direct mail and keep the costs down through the post office as well. We'll go into print magazines or newspapers. So there's some higher end newspapers or publications in our area here in Cleveland that we always dive into. So we'll do an advertorial, if you will. Instead of placing an ad, it's telling a story about how we do what we do, but then featuring a client as a spotlight, showing their transformation stories so that when somebody reads it, they're going to resonate with that client and say, oh, if they did it, then I can do it. So, and then we'll always have an A offer, which is the initial consultation and demo workout and 2 free sessions. And then we'll have a B offer. We do a lot of content marketing on the back end if people want to opt into our newsletter, which that's another system that we provide for our franchisees is done for you content marketing. They don't have to worry about it. So we simply come in to their email list every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with content, text, and videos, and then all the social proof and everything else that we drive it.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
multiple channels, getting into your chamber of commerce, into the local community. Strategic alliances are huge. Getting into local businesses that are already doing business with your ideal prospects. So we're going to partner with them, and then when we do a grand opening, we'll have a gift offering where all of these businesses that have our ideal clients will give gifts to our current people that come in, and then we can exchange back and forth with them because everybody's going to do business together, so we can cross promote. So strategic
Okay.
alliances are big as well.
So out the gate, you should be able to get really, hopefully a good, strong start.
Mhm. Yeah, and then the entrepreneur, whoever's the business owner, obviously, hopefully they have a good sphere of influence in that community as well that they can draw from. So we'll open up their Rolodex and just hit everybody on their list. And it might not be somebody that will be a client of theirs, but we always ask, is there somebody that that might benefit from our type of training? So we're always asking
Yeah.
for that favor, and people always want to do favors for everybody, and then you have the law of reciprocity working in your favor.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk how long it takes to get up and running. So what is the time frame that you've usually seen from the standpoint of, okay, like say, because you're going to sign the paperwork, you're going to say, hey, we're going to be a franchise, because build outs can really vary. I mean, that's going to be the
Yeah,
biggest
it
determinant.
really
But
does, and it depends on the area. It depends on the supply chain. It depends on the vendors and the contractors that you're working with as well. But we just did a corporate build out last year. It took us about 9 months to get that from soups to nut all the way when we signed the lease to open. And we're launching a franchise in Niceville, Florida. That'll take her about an 8 to 9 month period of time. So in our FDD, we're looking at usually about a range of 6 to 12 months from the time you
okay.
sign the franchise agreement. And so as soon as you sign the franchise agreement, we've partnered with a lot of people across the country that are extremely well at what they do. So one is a real estate company that will then go and find the exact location that you need. We have our LOI already drafted out so they can go and negotiate the lease on your behalf and get the best
Mm,
terms, find the ideal space. They have great software that utilizes that. Once we find that space, then we'll turn them over to our construction team that will vet and find 4 to 5 different bids from local contractors, and
okay.
then we'll hire a contractor. They'll oversee the entire project from the beginning to the end, from permitting to final occupancy permit. And then we have our onboarding as we go into our internal systems at Max Strength Fitness, with the owner, with the GM, with any of the trainers that they hire. So it's a seamless process the entire time. And like I said, we're partnered with a lot of other people that are just world class, and they deal with franchises all the time. So we're always trying to partner with people who've been there, done that, and really know their business, so they can help us grow our business quick.
That's a little bit different where like most franchises I talk to, they definitely help you with the location but a lot of them I've not heard anybody mention that they help you find the contractors and stuff and get the bids that you would need for
Yep.
the build outs. That's a first on that end.
Yeah, we want to make it as easy as possible on the entrepreneur, as the partner, the franchisee. So, we're going to do everything we can in our power to make that as easy as possible. There's so many things to do opening a business, and we want to make it as seamless as possible and as painless as possible. Now, there's going to be aches and pains along the way, and there's going to be things that are unforeseen and obstacles and challenges to overcome. But that's why we're there to step through those. And I've been through all of those over the last 20 years in business.
Yeah. How long does it, or like, what's the process, I guess, for training the owner,
Mhm.
to learn how to operate one of these businesses? Where do they need to, I assume that they're going to come up to Cleveland,
Yeah.
like,
So the
so,
beauty of the beauty of technology too. I mean, we'll have weekly or biweekly Zoom calls. From the moment we sign the franchise agreement, we'll set a schedule with them with my leadership development team, in my onboarding team, and we have everything laid out from the time they sign all the way up until they open the doors, and then continuing education moving forward. So we're constantly in contact with them. We have a great support team. We're a new emerging brand, but I've got a leadership team of 5 or 6, so we're well staffed to take on our franchisees as we go and take care of them for sure. And as we grow, we'll just add to the team.
yeah. So, but like I say, they don't necessarily have to have any kind of a fitness background or anything like
No,
that.
if they
That's
have
going to help.
business background, it's far better because
Yeah.
business is business. It can transfer to different industries and different verticals. We'll teach them the day to day of how to do the exact training protocol that we do that's specialized, and they don't have to worry about it. Again, they have to inspect what they expect from the marketing perspective, the sales, make sure the team is taken care of. Lead the vision of that company through us at Max Strength Fitness Corporate as well.
Yeah. What kind of like, I guess from an overall sales, perspective, what can a franchise potentially do?
Yeah,
Every store and market's going to be different, but what
sure.
are the
Yeah,
possibilities?
I mean, we're in Cleveland, Ohio, and our two corporate stores that are in our FDD from the year previous did 1.7 million. So combined, so average around 800,000 to $1 million is what we're looking for a studio.
Okay. Um, you said the retention rate is pretty high for these people, even though it's a fairly, significant monthly cost. It's like I say, it's definitely not $10 a month for Planet Fitness, but it's not really a comparable thing. Because it is more one-on-one training. It's not just walk in the
Yeah,
gym and do
it,
your own
it's
thing.
it's always one on one. You're always with your trainer. I call our environment a semi-private environment, and the fact that you're in there one on one with your trainer, but there's other people with their trainer as well, other clients, but they're paying attention to what they're doing. So there's no mirrors, no music. It's distraction free. So we keep it very clinically
Uh,
controlled, so you can focus the entire time as well. So that's the other part of our clinical controlled environment.
yeah. So, do you have a number of retention rate, that you've seen just like year over year of people
We're about
continuing this?
90,
Because
about 92%.
wow. So, and you mentioned earlier that it was about 160 members is what you're shooting for.
175,
So
175 will give you on that average around $1 million business.
okay, so 175 members. Have you seen anything about how long it can take to get there? Just like I don't know, it takes
You know,
2 years or
It's a
something.
great question, but I can't truly answer
Yeah,
it because in the past
it's
I was never driven to try to build it as fast as I could. I mean, I've got
uh,
kids, I've got 3 girls, I've got other interests.
right.
For me, it was a lifestyle, and it was growing a business, and it gave me the lifestyle that I wanted. But then when I got serious about franchising, I'll be able to tell you that let's revisit in about a year or two. And then- 'cause we're gonna throw everything at
Well,
the door to try to maximize the marketing to grow those businesses quick.
if you think about it, though, 160 people is not so many. Like I just think of other fitness chains and stuff, and the number of members that you could need sometimes is like say I don't know what a Planet Fitness does. I have no idea, but even the smaller ones like an Anytime Fitness, which is a similar square footage to you, is going to need a lot more because of what they're the
Yeah,
lower
they're
rate that
they're
they're
volume
charging.
based, so they're hoping to try to get as many members as possible, charge a lower dollar amount, so they're going to work on a volume, lower quality ticket, so they can go after a lower demographic from a pay scale perspective. That's
Mhm.
the thing. We're not. We're dealing with the affluent clientele who, like I said, they're busy executives or they're stay at home super moms or super dads, or take both of those and then retire them. We have tons of boomers. We have tons of 65.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got 98-year-olds. So we have a lot of clients that are in their retirement, but they truly, and to your point earlier about people say it's expensive, but to Susie, who has both hips replaced and wants to be able to get up off the floor and play with her grandchildren, or wants to be able to travel and
I
hike,
know.
that is not. There's a saying, I don't know who said it, but it's he who has 1,000 wishes, or he who has his health wishes for 1,000 things, but he who
Yeah.
does not have his health wishes for one thing, and that's his
Yeah.
health, or her. So, health
Yeah.
is everything. And as we age, we all suffer from sarcopenia, which is the wasting away of muscle tissue. About 3 to 5%, we lose that after the age of 30 if you don't strength train. And that's where we come in to combat that. So we
Yeah.
not only can improve strength, but all of that helps to improve the longevity of your life and the quality of your life. We can stabilize blood pressure, cholesterol, reverse type 2 diabetes, increase your cognitive function because there's tremendous benefit from that, increase your posture, increase your overall energy, help with your overall metabolic rate so you can burn fat throughout the day and help with your body composition. And then just lubricate the joints and stabilize the joints with strength so that you can decrease your joint pain.
I think, yeah, and I think that's what makes the whole business model way different than any other. Like if you were thinking, you know, from an investment standpoint, if this is something you were looking at, you want to think of it as, I'm not buying into a fitness business. I'm buying into a quality of life business because that's what you're going to be selling.
Yeah,
You know, you're,
absolutely. Sure.
you know, like I say, it's, I'm not quite in the age group that you shoot for, but I'm awfully close. And I'm starting, and it's natural that you start thinking about that, of the way you treat your body. And it's not just go to the gym and get on a treadmill or something like
Yeah.
that. It is, like I say, your muscles are slowly wasting away essentially, and your joints are, not what they once were. And like you mentioned, you've had 2 hip replacements, and as you get older and older, you're more worried about the quality of life. You want to be, 65, 70 years old, and you want to still be active. It's one thing to make it to that age. It's another to enjoy being at that age and
Right.
being able to live the life you want still.
Yeah, that's why I always tell my clients, look, our goal is to improve the quality of your life. The quantity, that's up to God. I can't do anything about that. But the
Yeah.
time you're here on this earth, we want to make sure that you are able to enjoy it and live life on your terms.
Yeah. And so I think that's what you really, if you're looking at this, you want to be focused on that, because that market is not, when you take and split it out from the rest of the, gym concepts and things out there, it is not saturated. I would assume that there's really nobody focused on that area. And I've talked to some other franchises that are not doing what you do, but they are targeting that same kind of market in
Mm.
different ways.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so because it's really huge. It's not just, like I say, we're actually getting past a lot of the boomers. We got the whole, I'm Gen Z, was it? Yeah, Gen Z or whatever.
Right.
Gen X.
That X.
I'm Gen X. So I'm in the 70s. So we're all entering it too, and
Right.
that's a huge demographic as well.
Yeah,
So it's really, I don't know. I think you got a really good play here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So okay, this has been great. How would people, if they want to inquire about a franchise, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can simply go to maxstrengthfitness.com. There's a franchise tab on there, or they can go to maxstrengthfitnessfranchise.com. If you go to the maxstrengthfitness.com, that's our corporate page. So you can see kind of what the client facing would see. So I would recommend going there first to get a look in the field for the business. But there's a franchise tab on there. You can just click on that. You can submit your contact information, and you can just request, and we'll set up a phone call and go through our discovery process.
Okay. Well, this has been great, Jeff. If you're looking for a franchise, especially something in the gym space, Max Strength Fitness is something you should really look at, because you have a demographic that is being targeted that is underserved. It's not your standard gym concept. This is what you want to be doing. When you're building a business, you want to figure out the areas that not everyone else is targeting. You've got to find those niches in there that you can make really a dent if you're going to build your own empire. And on top of it, when you're serving this demographic, you need a lot of it's not something everybody's going to know how to take care of, because of the knowledge you need from a personal trainer standpoint. But they're able to provide this. They're able to get you trained. This is one, if you're thinking of anything in the fitness realm, you should be looking at this concept. Again, it's been great to have you on, Jeff. My
Appreciate it.
name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Emerging Brands, Franchises on the Rise. I'm also the CEO of Type Media Works. We do podcast production. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.